And welcome back to the Don't Make This Weird
I turned it off. Keep
music.
talking.
Don't Make This Weird podcast. We're glad that you guys are joining us tonight, hanging out with Tony, and we do have a special guest, but we will get to that.
We're going to the split screen.
Just a little bit. But yeah.
All right, there we go.
That's my intro.
That's your intro.
That's it. That's all I got.
That was really fast.
Thanks. I'm working on that.
Hey, did you know it's raining outside? I just got an update on my phone.
That's good. I just got to update. Do you want to work out? No, I don't. Not right now. I got stuff to do.
According to my Fitbit, I have officially masturbated 27 miles.
Well, I don't want to tell you what mine is because I actually have one on.
Louder's chiming in and says, howdy. Oh, by the way, speaking of that, at the top of the show, I have to announce that there was a new Baghead video that dropped today.
Nice.
And oh my God, he has a special guest himself.
He does.
Yes.
He's got a girlfriend, a dog.
I know.
Special guest. Like, this guy's just moving up.
I'm starting to think that he's going to put us out of business here pretty soon because it's Baghead.
Oof.
And he played a different guitar today, which was really cool.
Okay.
He played well, I'm not going to tell you. Go watch the video. Why are you listening to me? Go watch it.
Why do you always want to ruin everything for others?
Oh, Regent said hi.
And Bobby says, "What's up?" I probably did that wrong.
What's up, boobs?
Wrong Bobby.
Oh.
Bobby Wyatt.
Bobby Wyatt. All right.
Yeah.
That's right. Bobby tunes that on Facebook.
Put like a special fancy Wyatt on there. That's probably wrong.
So let's get to the week. How was your week?
Why did we have to go to me first?
Because you're prettier than I.
Oh, my week.
Yes, your week.
Well, it's been a week.
What?
Yeah,
no.
That's about what I got for you guys. No, I just basically just doing the same thing, just grinding at Bronner's, working and getting a lot of ornaments out.
Whoa. Did you just admit that you grind
That's not. No. Just because I come home with lots of glitter does not mean that I'm like grinding on anything.
Totally.
Nah.
Yeah, you just said you grinding at work.
I said not grinding
just
on
saying.
anything.
You guys heard that, right? Like, go back. I'm not fixing it in post.
All right,
go back.
kids.
And she said she's grinding at work.
Don't listen to him.
Just saying.
He's got too much idiot sauce. I don't know where that came from. But, yeah. Oh, no. Yeah, so that's pretty much been the week. Getting ready for Pumpkin Festival this weekend.
Yes.
And getting more stuff made so that I can take it to sell. Because I'm anticipating a lot of people stopping up there to the farmer's market.
Right.
I'm hoping anyway. So, yeah, that's
it's the farmer's market. They always come up and hang out with you.
Yeah, they do, actually. I haven't determined, though, if it's really to come hang out with me or if it's because I'm next to someone that has amazing cookies.
There is that.
That's probably what it is, because I don't blame them.
Kenny does make some amazing cookie crack.
Yeah, we're going to give a little bit of a shout out for Kenny in a little while. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I felt really... On the way here, it started downpouring, and I was like, oh, them poor pumpkins up there. Them kids put so much time into them. The little eyeballs washing away down the courthouse, like sidewalk, paint. It's like a river of tears.
I mean, that's what sad hand jobs and depression look like, so there's that.
Totally took it to a different... Not where I was going with that, but I guess so.
You're welcome.
Wow, we got two Bobbies on here.
All right.
Not the boobs, Bobby.
Not the boobs, Bobby?
No, not boobs, Bobby.
By the way, she started that with us.
She did.
Just saying, that's really weird.
She did, back when we had Facebook also.
Yes.
As one of the streaming platforms.
Which we're working on that.
We are working on that.
Just need lots of frog skins, bottle caps, dinero, not
pocket lint.
No.
Buttons.
Whoa.
Wait, what?
Simmer down.
That's what I tell the bill collectors. I'm like, I got a moth, a button, and some pocket lint. You can have one, but you can't have them all. You're not getting out. You're not taking everything from me.
So we have two Bobbies in chat. Who's the other Bobby?
Bobby Striker Music. First time watcher here.
Oh, look at that.
First time listener. All right, yeah.
We are sorry. This is an hour and a half you'll never get back.
This is the truth. So one more thing, though, before I pass on to you and interrupt your week. We did get to play Rule of Cool. We were there. That was a lot of fun.
It was fun.
Keep on advancing. I mean, after last week's episode, it is every Tuesday that we actually jump on and are on Rule of Cool. After the last week of shenanigans, I was kind of nervous of how that was going to play out, to be honest. Because
nerds doing nerd things.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. Like, do you like D&D? Too bad if you don't. You should join us on Rule of Cool.
Yes, Rule of Cool.
Tuesdays at 6:30. No, 7.
No, it's live on Pipe Dream Gaming.
Yeah, but
on Twitch.
What's the time?
Well, yeah. Then the
Because I
video
always get it
drops
mixed
every
up
week.
because we have so much stuff going on.
Of course.
So, also, if you do check that out, there is actually a code for HelloFresh right now because that channel is being sponsored
by HelloFresh.
So, if you want to go over to that channel, not right now, of course, even though he's streaming right now. What's up with that, Brian?
That's right.
But you can get that code and you get 65% off of HelloFresh. So if you guys do want that code, you can always message. It goes towards the channel. We're part of that channel, so we can get you that code.
That's how.
But yeah, anyway.
Louder says glitter me. So am I done interrupting your week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go on.
Are you sure?
Go on, a-hole. How's your week been? I mean,
my week. What
compassionate.
the hell happened on my camera? There we go. My week has been just crazy busy because, did Guitar Fridays.
Yeah.
Obviously. Chill stream. Sunday was insane doing production. We didn't do Suck My Deck.
We didn't because
Monday.
it was the Monday off.
Right.
We did have a show with Leon.
Yes. That was great. Go check that out because that was fun. We're throwing cardboard, more nerd, doing nerd things.
Nerd stuff.
Tuesday, obviously, is really cool. We actually had a new person join our crew.
Yeah, we did. A new Jay.
A new Jay. It wasn't Editor Jay.
It wasn't Editor Jay.
Shout out to Editor Jay over at MTG Gaming.
Yeah.
Or MTG Attitude. MTG Gaming
Attitude.
Yeah.
MTG Gaming Jerks.
Yep. That's fun.
We gotta
get you. We're going to the split stream. We gotta get you on there so you can throw.
I was on there. Like I didn't throw any digital cardboard.
You're the shit talker though, which is great.
Digital. No.
Virtual cardboard.
Virtual. Whatever. I didn't throw any cards. I didn't throw down.
Yeah.
But I did throw down verbally.
There's it. Yes, you did.
You became small box Tony.
I was small box Tony next to big box Dave.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm still. I'm working on getting the surgery, so I'm medium box Tony. There's that.
I'll have fun with that. Just keep in mind.
What?
Okay. Anyway, go back to your week.
So Wednesday, obviously, we did more production to get this stuff done. And here we are Thursday, actually at episode 250, which is kind of cool because we actually have a guest in studio. So that's my week to put a little button on that. Do we want to get to our guest?
Yeah.
So that way you can do some amazing interview questions and I can talk about dick and fart jokes.
I did just get the code for the HelloFresh.
What?
So I can share it with you guys.
Do it.
So if you guys do want this offer, it does support the channel for Rule of Cool Pipe Dream Gaming.
Yes.
But we are on that channel, so it does go towards helping out the channel that we're on.
Absolutely.
So it's not for this channel, just so you guys know, disclaimer. But the code is POGHF6007, and that's 65% off of HelloFresh. You can order 2 meals, I believe it is, and it comes out to like $17.
Yeah.
So that's a good.
It's
that's like a great deal.
Crazy.
So that's POGHF6007, and that's HelloFresh. That's for the Rule of Cool channel. So.
Probably put that in the chat.
Could. Yeah.
Louder says Tony's the man with a box. Wait a minute, isn't that a song?
He's a man with a box.
Honestly, only accuses you of having a box.
Yeah, see that? See how he is?
Look, I'm voguing.
Oops.
So yeah, without further ado,
let's do this.
We're gonna bring our guest on, which is funny because we were talking about it before the show. We've known each other for 30 years.
I don't know how you've done this.
Right, like you willingly want to be seen with me in public. That's fucking crazy. So shout out to my a friend of 30 years. She's got some serious dirt on me. So if you want to know, talk to her.
Can we just dump out that dust devil?
Just don't ask about the apple juice. I'm just
dust
saying.
in the wind.
Makes your insides loose.
That's right. Whoa. So my friend Josie, who is a world traveler, speaks 40,000 languages and can greet them in 50,000, I think it is. So
very cool.
Over to you. There you go. Look at that.
Welcome to the show.
And she totally said that she did her hair purple because she knew that you liked purple, which means now she likes you better than me, even though we've known each other for 30 years.
Like 30 minutes.
Trying to figure this out.
30 minutes, 30 years. I get it. Like, that happens a lot.
I always get thrown under the bus. I'm not sure I like this.
Bump, bump. Like, just bump, bump, bump. The short bus, too.
So yeah, welcome to the show. This is officially an hour and a half. You'll never get back.
Nope.
And
sorry,
yeah.
not sorry.
Over to you, Heather.
Welcome, Josie. But back to what?
What?
That's not how that works.
Well, you got to ask all
Welcome to the show.
intriguing questions.
Very nice to meet you. I'm very intrigued about the language, like all the languages that I don't think it's that many, but I'm sorry if that's offensive to say. It's not 50,000. Really? Is there that many?
Oh, and she's also a world traveler, so there's that.
That's very awesome. World traveler. So you guys have known each other for 30 years.
Oh, yeah.
And after that, were you like, I just want to go to other countries to get away from him? Is that what happened?
I mean,
Brazil is a highly Catholic country, and everybody's making the cross signs. So,
so it was kind of like being around him anyway, because
be
everybody's
blessed and be saved.
Yeah.
The power of Christ compels you.
Yeah, I wonder, how often did you get holy water thrown at you growing up? I imagine so. Yeah. I should have not stopped.
It was great because when I'd walk into a church, I'd like bring pizza and shit, and they're like, "Wow, that pizza smells good." It's like because I'm on fire holding pizza, so there's that.
Every time you walked in, like burnt pizza though.
Well, no, because like I was shielding. I was like walking in pizza boxes, so that way, it was like French bread.
Just awkward.
It was really awkward because I'm like, why are my feet always greasy?
30 years, huh? Okay. We're going on 8, and I'm just like, ugh, 30. Yikes. So, world traveler, getting away from Tony. All right, we've already got there.
Yes, that's how it works.
So what made you get into doing that? Like, why do you travel the world?
Well, I really enjoy people, number one. And I'm a person who, when I go and do things, I don't want to do the touristy type stuff. Mm-hmm. Don't give me Disney World or Epcot or any of that
Biggest
stuff.
ball of yarn.
Give me the favelas, for example, in Brazil. Give me those places that nobody else wants to go, nobody else wants to be at. Mm. And not only to be there, but give me a job to do while I'm there, because I like to do humanitarian projects, really important to me. To be honest, I didn't really choose Brazil. Brazil chose me. Mm-hmm. And I say that because growing up, I mean, French was my second language when I was in high school, and I spoke a little bit of Spanish back then. But if I would have had my choice, thinking, I spent a lot of time with people in my church from Tahiti and Africa, so I never would have imagined Brazil. I mean, Portuguese, it's a kind of a complicated language. It's kind of like French and Italian had a baby, a very ugly-looking little baby. And, so I had to learn to speak Portuguese. It took me 3 years of studying by myself and studying Spanish in college and then transferring the grammar rules to learn it, because Portuguese is not taught widely in Michigan.
Right.
However, we're stupid for not doing so, because Brazil is actually one of the world's fastest growing super economies.
Okay.
Right.
They have a lot of potential, and companies like GM, now they're regularly training people from Brazil here in Howell, Michigan, and then sending them back to Sao Paulo to run the factories and stuff. And so there are a lot of opportunities for people to translate and to use Portuguese now in a really meaningful way.
Wow.
That's really cool.
That is really cool. So when's the last time that you were there?
I was there for the month of March. Sadly, I was there during the pandemic when it started.
Yeah.
And I lost 5 days off of my trip, and I was really heartbroken because, when you're there, everybody wants to see you. And when I go, I try to go for 3 to 4 weeks at a time, because number one, if you start a project, you want to be there to finish it. And number two, it's about building relationships in the community. You got to get to know people. Mm-hmm. And the best way to do that, as you can tell, is by breaking bread, getting together and eat, which I am practiced at that. And so
me too.
The job suits me really well, because you get to know people. But in all honesty, the first time I went there, I knew that those people would change me more than I would change them. Mm-hmm. And I felt very compelled to share that with them. And the other ministers and people that were there, they're like, all the years we've been doing this, we've never had a standing ovation the first night for somebody who just, shared 3 words. And I was like, well, maybe it's a sign.
That's awesome.
That is really awesome. Do you plan on going back anytime soon? Or?
Oh, yeah. I'm hoping to go back next year. You know,
Okay.
the difficulty is airfare is so expensive.
Yes.
And then when I go, I pay for all of my suitcases, my baggage. Believe it or not, I just picked up an accordion for a musician there. It's going to cost me probably $200 just to get it down on the plane with me safely.
Yeah.
So, you know, when I go, it costs me just to get out the door, leave, not even including projects or what I want to do. It's about $3,000.
Yeah.
And it's really expensive.
Ooh.
Wow.
But praise God, we don't have to have visas anymore for Brazil. They got rid of the Viator visa for Americans. So that's a hassle saver because it took me 3 times to get my visa my first time when we had to have them.
Wow.
I mean, it was good for 10 years, but, you know, it was tough to get in there. But, you know, when I go down, depending on what project I'm going to do, I have to raise another $2,000 to $5,000 on top of the airfare. So we're talking almost 10 grand.
Right.
And, you know, you guys are talking about the lint and all that stuff. I mean, that's me, you know.
True story.
And sadly, you know, it's all, you know, all on a position of faith for me because I never have it. I have like $7.06 in my savings right now.
Right.
You know, and I'm already planning to go back, and I have medical equipment that I take to a doctor that works there. I take a lot of diabetes supplies that are expensive to get down there, and Americans here are chucking them out at, you know, Goodwill and everywhere else.
Right.
So I do a lot of redistribution of things, you know, it's about getting people what they need. And, you know, and there's a lot of rules in the projects that I do so that when I'm there, rather than, just pick something to do, I try to find out what the community needs the most. And then I build partnerships with local businesses, so we're hiring local people. So every dollar that I get, not only does it multiply on the trade when I go in the country, but it goes even further because it's going to land right back in my community, and it's going to bless another family or another group of people. Not just once, but like a long term.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So in the meantime, what do you do? What else? What all do you have going on?
Well,
like,
let's
tell us about you.
Well, I am a contract substitute teacher. I teach all over several different counties in Michigan. Sometimes at our old alma mater, but in, you know, little communities, small places. And of course, the kids are very shocked. They're like, "Why are you even here if you know all these languages?" And, you know, I tell them, I'm like, you know, I'm a thumbkin, person from the thumb in Michigan.
Yeah.
You know. And I'm like, you can do anything you want to do. If you dream big enough, and like Tony, if you act stupid enough, you can get there.
Yeah.
You know?
Fist bump, my friend.
You know, and I admit, you know, if you would have asked me 30 years ago when we first met, are you going to leave this country? You're going to travel the world and have all these people? And I would have been like, nope. I'm going to marry me a big greasy trucker named Fred, and we can eat pork chops every night for dinner.
That's the dream.
That was the extent of my hopefulness in high school. But, you know.
I get that. Like, I used to tease him about it because growing up, like,
Yeah.
singing and stuff, I'm like, who am I going to sing for? Fucking Farmer John?
Right.
Like, you know, that's just kind of... So I understand where you're... But it's different. It's a lot different.
It's funny you say that because, I mean, you know, 30 years ago, I wanted to be in a rock and roll band. And, you know, I was going to go out on tour, which I did all that stuff. But, you know, being a thumbkin, you're either going to be a farmer or you're going to work in a factory. Those were your options. Because trade schools were a joke. I mean, if you could count to banana, I think you'd be great, like for general stocking.
Sugar beet.
Right. But those were your options. I'm like, yeah, fuck that. I'm getting out of here. And that's exactly what I did. And it was funny because school was a joke. There was no, I mean, I barely got into college.
You can barely get into your own shoes. Come on, dude.
You're not wrong. But I mean, that was the thing is ended up at, you know, Delta, which was great. And, you know, they had the music program, which was so funny because they were trying to phase out the music program at Delta, which made us Delta kids eligible to do the music program at SVSU. And they hated us there because they're like, well, university, you're a community college. And I'm like, we're way better than you are. So, but yeah, that was, it's so funny you bring that up, that all of that shit 30 years ago. I mean, hell, I was 5 years ago. And I'm like, hey, you want to do a podcast? What is podcast?
Wait, what? No.
Yeah.
I
You and
asked
I.
you that, and you're like, I don't know what that is.
Well, yeah, because I have slight Dame Bramage.
True.
There's that.
But yeah, like 5 years, it's unbelievable. It's just the time. And like you said, if you have an idea and you want to do it, if you really want to do it, you'll do it. Yes, definitely do it.
When things, changed so quickly with the pandemic, and the group that I work with called, said Resgatando Vidas, or Saving Lives. They had to find a way for outreach. And so that's the one thing that they started, was also a live stream called Looking for Peace. And I mean, this is definitely an experience for me, because I'm not used to doing live broadcasts in English.
Right.
So this is a little bit different situation, I'm like, I don't know what to think of this. I don't have to like translate or, repeat myself, because on Looking for Peace, a lot of times we have people from Central and South America, as well as the United States. And so sometimes even in America, when I'm here, if I have to preach, I have to do so in English, Spanish, and Portuguese.
Wow.
Because down at our congregation in Riverview, we have people from the Dominican Republic that are attending there. And then people from Brazil will often plug in via, internet. So, it's interesting doing this stuff in English.
Yeah. Well, we're glad that you are, because I would be like, okay, yeah, just go on. I don't know what you're talking about, but hopefully you're telling people I'm cool and Tony's not.
Pretty much.
That's all that matters.
She was, we were messaging back and forth. I'm like, hey, here's the interesting one. And she said, what was it? Was it okay? And like the autocorrect screwed it up. And I'm like, you do realize I speak English and bad English?
That's it.
It's a typo, dude. It's not that complicated. I'm like,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah. I get that.
Yeah.
I see you do that often. You're like,
it's so
What are you
odd. And
doing?
you would think that the smart technology would be a smartphone. But no, I'm texting away, and it looks like a 4-year-old with Tourette's is trying to type. And I'm just going, this is so stupid.
See, sometimes like my computer thinks that it's in Brazil all the time, so I can keep track of like the temperature and just news and everything. But my phone autocorrects to French all the time, and it drives me nuts. I'm like, why?
yeah.
Why? I can't even choose what language I want to use, because it chooses for me,
Yeah.
That's got to be annoying.
Jen's was doing that in Spanish, and I just was like, sure, cool, yeah. I'm glad you know Spanish.
So I have a funny little story for you guys.
What you got?
So every 3 years, my faith community has a triannual conference of the nations, and everybody comes together, and we do all of our business. And my friend Anderson is a lot like you, Tony. He is your Brazilian doppelganger.
Sweet.
Plays anything with sticks or strings, and nice dude. And we get into a lot of trouble when we're together, just like I would if I was with you. I mean, the fun gets real. So anyhow, we're in this business meeting, and my friend Gonzalo, who is from Honduras, is giving a very serious discussion on this piece of legislation we're going to vote on. And all of a sudden, I realized there's this man, and sadly he died during the pandemic. He was one of the first people that passed away, but his name was Tony Hernandez. And Tony was hilarious, and he was one of those Latinos that when you think of the traditional Latino man, this was him. And this guy was so tired, because he was in his 70s, and we would listen to Brother Gonzalo, and he'd say, hermanos, which means brothers. We are going to talk about this and this and this today, and then, I hope you all understand. And, they would sometimes clarify things for me. This old dude was so cool. He could follow the meetings, but he would also sleep and snore. And then all of a sudden, Gonzalo would say, and what do you think? Okay, usted pensa. And this old guy, he'd be, hermanos. And go through his whole dissertation. And then all of a sudden, he'd be like, I mean, I've never seen such a passionate hermanos. We must come to do this now. And it's
The energy just to say that.
holy shit, what happened here? This guy's like Speedy Gonzalez taking a nap.
Oh, that's funny.
I've never seen anything like that in my life.
That's hilarious. So how close is that to Nacho Libre? Just asking.
Oh, that's funny. Gosh. That's awesome.
Jack Black is my spirit animal, because it's all about the nucleus.
Totally.
I won't lie. Sometimes it's really hard for me living in the thumb. I bring people to my home from Brazil and other countries. We've hosted people from Africa and Indonesia and everywhere. In fact, we used to have a big party out at our place called Angels and Outlaws. And one year we had an international event. And we had made this steak that you rub down with like peanuts and cinnamon and salt and garlic. It's called suya, but it's also called satay in Indonesia. These two ladies were both looking at it and they're like, oh no, they were arguing over what the name was. And I'm like, no, it all means the same thing. There's about to be a bloodbath out in my yard over the barbecue and who it was made for. But what's the difficulty is for me is that a lot of people, when they hear the Portuguese spoken, they automatically assume that it's Spanish, but they call it Mexican, which makes me want to stomp a bitch in the face.
Right?
My French.
No.
Because, we live in a world where the education, is there. You get it on the internet. You see it on, you know what ethnicities or, groups or places people are from. But even if you don't understand what they're saying, it doesn't mean that they're speaking Spanish.
Right.
The ethnocentrism that runs so deeply in the thumb sometimes is hard for people to cope with. For example, when Pastor Carlos is at my house, he likes to mow the lawn because he can drive my quote unquote lawn tractor. I mean, it's just a little tiny craftsman, but people are like, oh my God, there's a black guy who doesn't speak English mowing her lawn. Yeah. It's got to be stolen. He's taking the tractor. He's getting down 2nd Street. It's like, nah, man, he's just mowing the neighbor's lawn too, He's going to make off with my lawnmower at 5 miles an hour. Come on, people. It doesn't even work very good,
Yep.
Pretty much.
So speaking of that, we actually just tossed something up in the YouTube chat. So if you guys are in the YouTube chat, there is a poll that popped up there that says, how many places have you traveled outside of the U.S.? So if you guys are chiming in, go ahead and answer that because we would like to know how many places y'all have traveled outside of the U.S.
You didn't give me an answer.
Didn't give me an answer. One?
Not 2.
Oh. Well, what the heck?
I'll put 2 down anyway.
There you go.
I've been to
Canada 50 times.
It's kind of like the snobby,
out of the world.
Yeah,
that.
It's a nice. I have to say, when I go to their school, their Reese and Millington really do support their substitute teachers, and they are very wonderful. But it's just so weird. Just like all of the thumb is so. I don't want to say uncultured, but then there's
kind of
this nice, neat little Reese.
Yeah, I know, really.
How do we get them? They make Tuscola County look so good.
We need one.
Right.
We just need one to make us
one carrying the torch.
Right.
Thanks, Reese.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask you down with South America and stuff like that. Is it Brazil that speaks Portuguese and the rest speaks Spanish, or how does that work?
Yeah, Brazil speaks Portuguese. Well, actually, like Guyana, they speak French.
Okay.
Belize speaks English.
Okay.
It just depends on what part of Europe they were settled from. But you get a lot of the further north you go in the Amazon, they'll have a lot of a mix in there because there are South American countries that are border countries. And it's kind of funny because Carlos has an uncle that to say, well, then in Portuguese, the word is então. But in Spanish, it's much more the entonces. Very passionate, and I'll be listening to him speak along in Portuguese, and all of a sudden he throws out like one Spanish word, and I'm like, well, shit, what was that? I'm like, I can't do twosies. You give me one track at a time, and I can follow it, but it's very difficult sometimes because, not all of the verbs are the same in Spanish and Portuguese, and so, for example, in Spanish, the word embarazada means to be pregnant. But it's serious. In Brazil, they call it a grávida, which is a serious situation. Literally, they call being pregnant just a serious situation. She's serious. It's a grávida. I'm like, oh, man.
Well, I mean, I guess how much you had the drink the night before, that would be a pretty serious situation.
Right.
There's that.
Don't drink the water with that. It's very serious now.
Yeah, I have kids by osmosis, man. My kids are only 10 and a half months apart, so I had to have a little fixie. I wasn't even going to wait for my husband to do it. I said, somebody better fix this because I can populate a small country if given enough time.
So how is that with having kids and doing the travel? Do they go with you sometimes, or do you just go alone?
We tried to get my youngest son, DJ, to go with me, and we worked at it, and we wound up, I got really sick, and I had emergency surgery, and so we sadly lost the cost of the airfare to the airline, but The money that he raised, we still took down and did the project. But actually, my best traveling companion is a 79-year-old man named Earl Watt from Lansing, Michigan.
Okay.
Earl has lived in Nairobi and in Thailand and in Brazil. He grew mung beans for the State Department and recorded their growth and behaviors. And
Nice.
he lived in Goiânia, which is a couple hours north of Sao Paulo, and they have a little bit of an accent that would remind you of like Portuguese-speaking people were Southerners. So yeah, it's real interesting. It's like learning English from a Texan.
Okay.
Some interesting stuff. And the people from Rio, I can't understand a fucking thing they say because they have this weird accent, and it's like they're swallowing when their tongue when they're talking.
What?
Yes, tudo bem. What? So my actual dialect of Portuguese that I speak, it's called Paulista. Sadly, like I said, we've had people in our home, but my husband has always wanted to go, but it's so expensive.
Yeah.
And you asked me like what I have going on. So I'm a substitute teacher, full-time pastor. I own 2 small businesses, one called The Novelty Nook. I sell socks that are like 1980s, like Pac-Man and Skeletor and, all kinds of cool stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I dig
Novelty stuff, that 80s. Yeah. And then I also have a vintage jewelry business called J. Dalton Artist. I not only make jewelry, but I also buy for collectors. I sell on eBay and just knee deep in bling all the frickin' time. Yeah.
Not only do you like have the purple, but you make jewelry also.
Yes.
Like I dig this.
Yes. And
We just become friends.
I like to cook too. I've done restaurant work for a long time, and I transferred those skills. Now I cook at church camp, 300 people 3 times a day. Feed them down home good food. None of that pulling a box open stuff.
Yeah.
Like we get the real taters and beans. You can look at it and say, "Oh, that's a bean,"
It's not an
Holy shit.
unedible.
Right?
What is that?
Well, and you were talking about the whole beans thing. Like, how different is like agriculture and growing gardens and stuff down there?
Some things are easier because they have a lot longer growing seasons, especially in Sao Paulo. But their government subsidizes a lot of things, and so one of the things that they do subsidize specifically is bread, like French bread loaves. So for about 10 cents US, you can buy a little loaf of French bread. Eating customs are different. Like for breakfast, you have coffee, bread, just very light stuff, and then 2 hours later, you're eating lunch anyways.
Right.
And then at 6 o'clock in the evening, they have coffee and bread again, and then they usually eat supper between 9 and 10 at night. They go to bed full.
Wow.
So very different, but for lunch, whatever you eat, it's always going to be with beans and rice. And if you're going out to eat, it's beans, rice, and French fries or deep fried manioco root. But as far as like whatever you eat for lunch, you make enough so that you basically reheat that for dinner. They don't cook different meals all day long like we do. It's more cost effective. Beans and rice. I know in the United States we're very nervous about not putting everything. You can leave a lot of stuff on the stove.
Yeah.
And people here, like gotta refrigerate the eggs. Well, in Brazil, a lot of times they're never even in the refrigerator.
Right.
So
Yeah.
That's cool. So what have you noticed? Let me go back. There we go. Work camera. What have you noticed about the similarities between obviously the thumb and Brazil and some of these other places?
One of the things that you're going to find is that Brazil's population is more like America.
Okay.
As far as they have the Amerindian or the American Native Indian population that they have. A lot of people speak Quechua between Peru and the Amazon. Like they might speak Spanish and Portuguese, but commonly speak Quechua or dialects of it. But they are very warm, loving people. One big difference is, though, in Brazil, the respect for your elders, for mothers, for pregnant women. On the subway, they have various signs, like seats are for families and for elderly people.
Yeah.
It could be 11 o'clock at night. That train could be 100% empty. And if you get on the train and you flop down in a spot that's reserved for the elderly people, which they're referred to as idozos down there.
Yeah.
They will help you face first to find another place to sit because the respect is so high for elders and mothers and things like that. But one of the things too that's awesome is they have a passion for live music, which a lot of Americans do. They really enjoy that. A a lot of their talents and hopes and dreams are the same, but one thing that's different is how warm the people are.
Yeah.
You know, they hello and talk to you. We tend to, you know, look down and look away, but
Look into this.
yeah. Yeah. I know sometimes I make the police officers nervous down in Brazil because whereas everybody else is running away from them, I'm like running towards them. I'm like, hey, thank you for your work. And they're like, what the oh, she's not coming for my machine gun. She just wants to hug me. What the fuck just happened here? Some huge white lady, well, actually, in their culture, enormous white lady is waddling across the street, you know.
Get over here.
Yeah. And he's like, yay, yay, yay.
He's like, it's okay, man. I just want to thank you. That's all. However you say that in that language.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Quick catch up and chat here. John says, would you do it for a Scooby snack? Do what for a Scooby snack?
That's what
Same shit you do for a Klondike bar, dude. Don't.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's that.
Yeah.
That's pretty easy. I'll help you that.
Bobby Wyatt says, furthest I've been out of the state was Kentucky.
Nice.
Also asked what department in Bronner's that I work in. I am a punter in the back, so I get orders from actually all over the world,
Nice.
which is very interesting to see the different names and all of that. So yeah, that's what I do.
Very
I don't have to go out on the floor anymore. They keep us in the back. I like that.
Hey, that works.
So, yeah. Yeah, exactly. They're like, oh, just be an elf and be happy and jolly. Wait, that's part of Santa's job. I don't want to step on the big man's toes.
Just saying, Santa knows where all the hoes are at.
Jeez. He does announce that, doesn't he?
Ho, ho, ho.
True.
Is that your house too? What?
Well, and as a general rule of thumb, you never want to piss off the big guy in the red suit because he's either a thug, you know, or somebody's grandpa who's really having a bad day.
That's true. That is very true.
What you doing, Dolores? Steal me soon. I find this red.
Yes.
That's great.
Also, Bobby says, are you by the ornament makers? Out on the floor, no. In the back, no, because we get them from Germany and all over the world. So I think I know what you mean, like painting or whatever, but I'm in the back, yeah.
Yeah. Heather's in the back of the bus. She's too cool to hang out with
back.
the kids on the floor. She's just like, whatever.
I used to hang out on the floor. I did my time. Out there.
Kind of
Got off on good behavior.
Little phrase we had when we were in high school. Remember that? Get to the back of the bus and pack a lunch.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I don't know why we had to pack a lunch, but, you know, get to the back of the bus.
Is that the version like back then of eat a bag of dicks?
Probably. I mean,
Yeah,
sort of.
See, I was nervous. He's like, religious, and I'm like, oh god, oh man. So I can't talk about this stuff.
Well, you know,
She hangs out with me. I'm just saying.
I mean, that's a good indicator. Like, okay, not as, but we have had Pastor Jason on and
We've had
Randy,
Byron.
Byron, and at those times I was just like.
I mean, I said
I
fuck
gotta
a couple of times.
myself.
Whatever.
Yeah, you did. I forgot. One of them like showed up, and you're like, "Who the fuck is that? Is that my bro?" Oh, I was like, "Oh yeah, that's Pastor Randy, not who you're thinking."
Generally, the best introduction when a pastor shows up, your pastor shows up to your house, is, "Who the fuck is that guy? Is that my brother?" And he's like, "Oh, hey, how's it going?" I'm
Yeah,
like,
he's like, "Oh hey."
"Hi."
But there are people too. Like that was one of my favorite shows because I got to see like, oh, just because you're a pastor, like you're so cool, man.
Right.
Like, you're cool.
Well, and that's what's been so cool about this show and doing this stuff. We've interviewed so many freaking people.
Yeah.
From bands to comedians to pastors to, I mean, good Lord. We interviewed Adam and the Metal Hawks.
We did.
And like the very next day we're interviewing, what was it, Big Box Dave? Or was it, shit, who was it? God, I can't remember. We've interviewed so many people. So we've covered the gamut of making shit extra weird.
Yes.
And our guests have jumped
this
in.
girl, you get a 2-for-1 because I do stand-up comedy also.
Oh, do you
So,
really?
yes, I do. I do.
Gosh, dang it! We're gonna
Yes.
be best friends.
One of my better sets is called
excited.
Kindergarten and the Never-Ending Booger. It's all of my nightmare stories from being a substitute teacher in the thumb. Oh my Lord, have mercy! You know.
I mean,
hope for the future is kind of hard. There's a reason why I am a pastor, because after being a public school worker,
you need Jesus.
man, an exorcism, holy water, half gallon of wine, take a bath in Goldschlager. Come on,
Yeah, some little wafers just because, good measure.
And people are tough, and it's not like it used to be when you could reason with people.
Right.
Anymore, anything happens at school and people go from 0 to 10.
Yeah.
Like right now, and it's so weird. Like there's a big difference in how people handle things. Like the moms that are overwhelmed, it cracks me up, because I was an assistant secretary for about a year. I did 3 jobs at the school. The last year I was at Vassar full time, and oh my God, talk about just about use you till you die. But I call to check to see if a student was home, if like something happened with attendance, and you'd hear the dad panting, baby's crying on one arm, he's trying to get a bottle. He's like, "Where's my wife?" I'm like, "Well, you can just tell me if Billy's home or not. That's all I gotta know." And he's like, "I don't know, man," and this kind of cracks me up, because like when the moms call and they're just like, "Billy's sick," click.
Yeah,
the dad calls, he's like, "So Ryan was puking this morning and it was green, and I think he ate something bad," and he's giving you the whole there's a big difference. The moms are like, "He's sick, down for the count."
Yeah, I'm done.
We already know who's cleaning up the puke, motherfucker.
How long have you worked for the school system then?
I've been working for 6 years now in the local school systems.
Yeah.
I just kind of go where I'm needed on stuff, and I kind of ran into a dilemma being a pastor. What kind of job do you do?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. I mean, it shouldn't matter if I'm working at a dispensary or if I am, making a pizza at Maria's or whatever. It shouldn't matter. But people definitely categorize you and your spirituality and what they see based on what they think you do. And I'm like, you know what? I need something that doesn't compete. And kids need a lot of love these days.
Yeah, they do.
There's so much insecurity. And, I'm a rainbow mom. I say I make kids with flair. I've got my own transgendered son, and I have a transgendered nephew that lived with me for a while. And, I know the pain of things that they go through. Mm-hmm. And at an early age, I can see things in kids that other people can't see.
Right.
And so if I can be that voice of support for them, if I can help them out, and just give them a good day at school, because a lot of substitute teachers think it's their job to go in and make the kids behave. You don't have to make them do anything. Mm-hmm. If you go in and tell them, "Hey, we're doing this together, and there are things that I don't know," like a couple times I've taught like AP chemistry and stuff, and I'm like, "Hey, YouTube's a beautiful thing, because I don't know this stuff." Somebody picks a good YouTube lesson for the day, man, it'll be a piece of candy for you. Right. But you go in there with the humbleness and the humility and say, you guys are under way more stress than I was in, because now they get taught the test.
Yeah.
And if you miss a day of school, people poo-poo it and say it's not that hard to catch up. Oh, it is.
Yeah.
It is, and we are cramming information in our kids' brains at an alarming rate. And so they're burned out, they're overwhelmed. And then, there's also a multitude of sports and programs that did not exist when we were in school.
Right.
Some of them did, but now it's much more extensive. There's clubs for everything from, baking and cooking to... I'm going to borrow one of Tony's little phrases, giraffe husbandry, just about, anything you can think of, there's a club for it these days. And so our kids are really in desperate need of someone just to love them where they're at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I know that some schools I go to, like the homeroom teachers, they hate me because the kids are like falling at my feet to, please be our sub for just 5 minutes,
Yeah.
But it's because they're getting love, that mama love too. There's a lot of love from this mama going out and they know it.
Right.
But I find if you give a little respect to kids, man, you get a whole lot back in return from them.
Yeah.
A whole lot back.
Yeah, it's that sincerity. I mean, good Lord, look at us growing up. We knew the teachers that were right as rain, and the ones that were just doing it because they got their tenure.
Mm-hmm. I'll give you credit for that, because I went for one day and then I quit. So there's that.
Well, I won't lie. It's been tough because I also work for Tuscola County Behavioral Health as a respite care provider. And, a lot of days at work, I was working triple over, double time, basically, because my kids that were a part of that program also attended the school. And so, there were some days when I was dreaming of shanking myself in the cafeteria.
Right.
It was working, I
Yeah.
won't lie.
Yeah.
I've been puked on, pooped on, had snot, wiped on me, all the fun stuff. But
Damn high schoolers.
I know. Hey, they asked me one time, they're like, "Hey, you got an issue teaching in high school?" I'm like, "I've done prison ministry. I can do Steely Indifference all day long. They don't scare me. I'm
Right.
good."
That's awesome.
Yeah, when I left after that one day, I drove home and I just felt like I got my ass kicked.
Right?
Honestly, because they didn't really tell me what all I was doing. It was my first time being a parapro.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Boy.
Nope.
Yeah. One day, that kid ate me up, spit me out, and
yeah.
then let me go home and take a nap for 4 hours. I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I can't do this.
Parents have it worse than teachers, because they catch all the flack and they're expected to pick up the pieces. And, a lot of schools, it depends on the dynamic. Like at Vassar Central Elementary, one thing I have to say, they have a beautiful dynamic there where the parapros are truly an extension of the teacher. They're a team. They're well-trained. Other school districts in the area, not so much. Their paras are there just to wipe noses and, clean up messes. And but
Chase
at
after
Vassar,
a child taken off,
Oh,
swearing
yeah.
at you. Yeah.
they've invested in trauma care training, and I've had probably, I would say, about 100 hours over the 5 years of training provided to me of really meaningful, useful stuff like mental health first aid, and but they should be providing that to our parents all along, because the situation in our country where you see kids that are by themselves all the time, they're home alone, there's nobody there, and they need all of the love and attention that they can get. And one thing that people forget, kids that have gone through trauma or live in poverty or have extreme situations at home, they don't go to school to learn. They go to school to get love.
Yeah, to get away.
Kids that are loved at home can go to school and learn easily. And there's a big difference in, their situations. One of the things I love that Brazil has done education-wise, and I think that America could take notice, is that when you're in high school, school is 11:30 in the morning till 7:30 at night. It's so much easier because the kids are sleeping, and it's hot there. So, sometimes, if it's going to be a real toasty day, it could be so uncomfortable, but they air condition their buildings well for their high schools there.
Yeah.
And they found that their dropout rate dropped by like 30% because kids that needed to have an income to support the family could work in the morning and then go to school in the afternoon, but they weren't like whipped out, feeling dead to the world. They get hour-long lunch hours there.
Yeah.
A lot of people have the option to go home for lunch, which is nice.
Big difference.
Yeah.
Wow, we could learn a lot from that. Really.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be definitely different there. So, did you do any teaching while you were there?
In Brazil, I don't necessarily teach school things. I teach like what they call temple school classes, which are like scripture study or classes involving priesthood, which is like for deacons and teachers and priests and like job specific training. A lot of what I do in Brazil is like spiritual renewal retreats when I'm working for the church, but a lot of my work is now partnered directly with the mayor in Poa. I have a park now that Pastor Carlos and I are in charge of that we maintain. We worked hard. It was a trash lot when I first started going there, and it was my first dream was to see something there. And now when I go and I look out and I see all the senior citizens visiting with each other, we have a man that his wife's passion was flowers, and when she died, he asked if he could take over the foliage. And so we have beautiful flower gardens in this place. And our next project that we're working on is building pavilions because they need safe places for families there.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That is so cool. So now, obviously, you're getting resources and you get a lot of that support through the church and the congregation. Is there any place that, say, some of our listeners may want to go through and help support that whole process? Where would they go through and find that information?
Well, the tough part is when you're an independent, because my faith community, it used to be that they could, but I am actually now the CFO of Has Got 10 DeVitos for Saving Lives in the United States. And so basically, people can like write it out to RSG and then my name.
Okay.
They can send it to me and it's still tax deductible because it is a legal charity in Brazil.
Yeah.
It's a 501c3 basically.
Mm-hmm.
But the beautiful thing is about the way that we do things is when I get donations, I wire it directly down to Brazil. And because we have a license, we don't have to pay any fees for the money exchange. We don't have to pay a lot of middleman fees that other people have to.
Oh, nice.
But I don't have like a regular giving site because most of the people that I've worked with are in my faith community. We have like 60 congregations in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they will help. But because I switched to more of the humanitarian, it's very much private funded. It's it's hard and it's difficult. It's frustrating at times, maddening, but I wouldn't change a thing. I really wouldn't change a thing. You know, the people I've met, the things that I've done, children in my neighborhood that were little kids when I first started going to Brazil are now graduating, and some of them have families of their own. And you know, it's like seeing this next generation. And so, you know, I'm hoping and praying, you know, to keep at it for another 10, 20 years if I can. But
heck yeah, that's
all
awesome.
just depends on what the big man upstairs wants from me, really.
Right,
you know?
right.
The direction of that. You never really know where your direction's gonna go with it. So do you have any exchange students come over or anything like that? Is that any part of it?
Not as much exchange students as adults and their families. We have Anderson Carvalho and his wife Diana Carvalho scheduled to come in June. Also, all of their travel expenses fall on me.
Yeah.
So that includes from the moment they get on the plane till the minute they go back home, and their wages that they lose while they're here.
Wow.
Because they, even less than us, cannot afford to miss work.
Yeah.
Right.
So because of the exchange, when I have visitors come, we try to do even Stephen ministry exchanges. And so for 1 year, Pastor Carlos and his wife Fernanda took me at church camp, and I was having trouble with
They're doing the thing, yeah.
It's not you. Go ahead, keep talking.
Okay, so they were I was having trouble with the verb colocar, which means to put. I kept saying colar. So I'd say, glue those potatoes into the steam table, glue that chicken to the counter, you know. It was hilarious. But, you know, you find a lot of when you're working in ministry, you don't need as many words as you think. Expressions, you know, understanding. There's so many things that come across, you know, universally in caring for people.
Yeah.
But it's so exciting. Anderson is a fantastic musician. He sings like Luther Vandross and as low as Barry White.
Wow.
He's got all of the range. He's got a beautiful falsetto.
I know a guy who has a studio, just saying.
Cool.
If you're
yeah.
interested in bringing him to the studio.
Oh, yeah. And in fact, you know, I have at our studio in Brazil, I would love someday for you to go and meet Paulo Phoenix.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, he's got, in his house where he lives, he's built an enormous studio. And Johnny Boy Chavez, who is a huge performer in Brazil, does all of his cutting records and things there.
No
and
shit. That's cool.
Yeah. I don't know if I've tagged you in any of Johnny Boy's stuff on there.
I think you did, yeah.
He does praise and worship music and secular music, so everybody knows him. And
Heck yeah.
he writes songs for our broadcast, all of our stuff, so we don't have to pay because we own the rights to the music.
Oh,
nice.
So, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. All the music you hear on this channel is music that I've written. So.
You just have to trank him to go with you.
He could do it.
I don't fly.
Well, if you're awake for it, you'll be okay. I take her.
I'll go. I would go for sure, yeah. Heck yeah. Go check out the I'll be like, well, Tony, this is what you're missing.
Yeah.
I can introduce you to Reverend Elvis and some of my other famous characters from out there.
I wouldn't know anything what they're saying, so I'd be like, yeah, we're good.
Well, here's the funny thing. So Reverend Elvis is a Catholic priest in Oscuro, Sao Paulo, and he has like 4,000 people in his congregation. And
Holy
he knows a lot of them like really well, like not just a couple. He works really hard, and they had a birthday party for him. And so they decided they were going to sing Suspicious Minds. However, they didn't have all the music for it. And so they're like, oh, you're American, you know Elvis? I'm like, yeah, some of the stuff. But what I tried to tell them, and they didn't understand because this was before I was fluent, is that I didn't know all of the verses. I knew the chorus, and so it was like bad Korean karaoke. And they're going, yeah, rock it on. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to hell. I blaspheme the Reverend's birthday.
That's freaking awesome.
Oh, that's funny. That is such a... Oh man, but you did. But you went. You did
and I do sing there quite a bit now. We go to Bar Brahma, which is where Vanessa Jackson and George Clooney. There was a ton of, the last time I was there, American people. Like, I can't even tell you the whole list because they like to hang out there. But you know, I really enjoy. But we not only sing at places like that, but we go to little hole in the wall family bars, you know, and sing for people. Because it gives them joy, you know, and we know the 60s and the 70s hits that tribute music in Brazil is huge right now, making tons of country music of all things in Brazil is going crazy gangbusters.
Really?
Right now. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's awesome.
So you can literally bop into like a little cantina or whatever and hear Johnny Cash.
Yeah, as long as you know, and it's amazing. There was one of the singers from Korn was, I think his name is Jeremy something. When I was there in 2012, before it was after he had a big breakdown performing on stage, he went to Brazil to hide. And my friend Anderson was helping his friend Marie. She owns a art and music studio. She's an extreme performer. Okay. And I look over and I'm like, that guy's from Korn. He's strumming a guitar and singing. I'm like,
wow.
In this little tiny
yeah
hole in the wall. But some of the people there, they sing so beautifully. They don't understand all the words. Yeah. But their talent is raw and amazing and beautiful. And
that's one of the things that I've noticed, especially being all over YouTube and seeing so many Brazilian artists just perform better than the music originally was written. And I'm going, holy shit, I got to go down there and learn what these guys are doing because, wow, they are incredibly talented.
Very passionate people.
Yeah. That's why I'm waiting to see what, like, Brazil's going to have for the hard rock and heavy metal scene because you've got all these bands that are coming out, like The Who. There was another one, Bloodywood, which was out of India. And just like there's this other one, they're from Iceland, and they do all like this traditional folk music from whatever region they're from, but they add heavy metal and hard rock to it. And I'm like, that is just freaking awesome.
Well, and another thing that you're going to find is growing too is mixed language music. Like Johnny Clegg, you know, half of his music was in Zulu and in English. Yeah. And oh man, when he died last year, I cried my eyes out because he worked so hard through his music to end apartheid in South Africa. I mean, he was just a warrior in the music industry, but there are a lot of Brazilians that are breaking the standard. Number one, we're starting to see a lot more plus size women singers down there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and because it used to be, you know, there the stigma is even worse for big people. And you know, it can also depend. Sometimes there's even a stigma for white people there in Brazil because there is a huge movement calling for the Amerindian women, the African women that live there, to express themselves more fully and to consider themselves, you know, beautiful, because there's a lot of problems with the European ethnocentrism down there as well as here. But I actually experienced the other side of racism when I was there because I was with Anderson and people know him very well because he's pretty famous. And I was at a little restaurant eating these pastries that have meats and cheeses in them called pastels. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. Yeah. Freaking amazing. Yeah. And anyhow, you know, we went to go have grace because we always hold hands and pray. And he started looking down because the woman behind the bar, I could hear her, you know, what are you doing with this, basically, with this elephant from Russia? And I turned around and I said, he's eating his supper with her in Portuguese. And she was like, ah! Busted. Because a lot of times I will speak English to be funny, like if I'm saying something bad, because Anderson, I've taught him all the bad English. He knows.
Hey, I speak that fluently.
Actually, he did Tony me one time. Because we were in the car and we were going to downtown Sao Paulo to this place called Christ Street where you can buy anything. There's literally an entire street of Christian bookstores.
Nice.
But they'll have like stickers and Bibles, and I like to go shop in there. So we're in the car, and all of a sudden we're in this horrible traffic jam, and I'm talking like 6 hours.
Oh, wow.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and so we were playing games to keep each other busy, and all of a sudden he would say, "Sister, what does the word asshole mean?" And I'm like, "You can't talk like that. You can't say that. That's a bad word." Well, but I watch the movies, and sometimes they say words like shit. And I'm like, "No, you can't say that either. That's as bad as asshole." And then he looks at me, he goes, "What about the word fuck?" And I'm like, "You never say that one. That's the big F." And he looks at me and he grabs me by the hand and he goes, "Dear sister, I know. I just want to see your face." I'm like, "You mother sucker. How could you do that to me?"
Oh,
They're trying to teach you the right way, you stinking asshole.
You shit asshole.
Right?
Oh, that's funny. Oh my gosh.
Hey, I always say, there's a lot of people that get offended at how I am, but God knew how I was, and he called me to do this stuff. You have to have a sense of humor, number one. And number two, you have to be willing to be vulnerable, to build those relationships with people. And there is nothing, I know this is going to sound a little, I don't know, hoity-toity, but to me, there's nothing more vulnerable than a plus-size diva getting off the plane in a foreign country full of very skinny people. I've had more than one bean for lunch today. Look out. I ate the whole damn bowl.
Oh, man.
That's freaking awesome.
But, one of the things that came from this travel, though, and you remember me in school, I did not have good image. I did not have body positivity in the least. But in my foreign travels, I have this entourage, as my father calls them, of very, wonderful looking brown men from all over the world that fall at my feet, and I would have thought, who would have ever thought me, the plus size diva, the kid that was the odd thumb out for size, is making a headway in this community in Sao Paulo where people have been so downtrodden, terrible lives because they've been robbed by their government, by their local government, by their police even, there's so much corruption. And, I want them to look around and feel good. Like, in America, everywhere I look, I'm proud of this place. I'm proud of the people. They don't have that same pride that we have, and I want them to have that and feel that. And one of the things that happened to me over time was I began to love myself a lot more. Yeah. Because I'm like, wait a minute, if these people from this place can trust me with spiritual guidance, that's worth more to me than wearing a pair of size 8 pants.
Yeah, for sure. Heck yeah.
Well, and the fact that, you always had the brains and you had the Sacarde. I would have loved to have seen someone talk smack about anybody that you give a shit about in school in front of you, because they would probably not be breathing.
Yeah, I roughed up a few people. In fact, my senior year, there was a girl one that I actually wound up full on punching her in the face because she was a bully. She was mean.
Yeah.
And the girl that had been my locker partner up until my senior year was sitting at her desk, and this chick walked up and popped her in the face and made her cry. I'm like, you can't do that. So I walked right up and did the same to her. And I said to the teacher, I will head straight to the principal's office. And he clapped. And that was Mr. McCardle, though. I know. I was figuring he was going to help me down to the office. He's like, oh, he knew. He knew.
Well, no, and that's the best part about that is the fact that you look at the eclectic group of people that we hung out with in school. And none of us really fit in a round hole because we were all square pegs, and it was great. The fact that we found each other in the process of that and went, you know what? I don't really give a shit about any of this. I'm going to go do my own thing, and you're all coming with me.
Come on, misfit toys.
That's right.
Let's go to our own island.
Speaking of misfit toys, we have to go through and give some shout outs.
We do.
Because it is the top of the hour, so we'll get back to you momentarily.
All right. Do you want to go ahead and go first? You want me to?
No, I'm throwing you under the bus.
Usual. I'm used to this. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start out because I did talk about the Pumpkin Festival.
Yeah.
The farmers market that's going to be happening. It happens every Saturday. We're going until October 29th. This week is from 10 to 4? Or is it 9 to 4 still? Or 9 to 4?
Sure. I don't know. I'm going to be up at like 5
Okay.
a.m. working, so.
Well, come see us anyway. I
Yes.
believe it might be 9 to 4, but I'm not 100% on
10
that. I
to
know we're going
4.
longer,
Yep.
so we'll be there till 4.
Because it's a thing we do.
It is a thing. So if you guys are interested, I think all those slots are filled for this weekend. But if you want to get in touch with Lauren, there's a couple more weekends left. You can get in touch with Lauren Mall at 989-673-7671. I'm probably saying her name wrong. Sorry. But yeah, you can go ahead and get in touch with her at, where is the municipal building? That's
It's
where she's
City
at.
Hall.
City Hall.
Yeah, she's the interim city manager.
Yeah.
So that's kind of
So
cool.
if you guys are interested in trying it out, because this is the second season that I've been with the farmers market, really love and enjoy being there. Get a lot of really awesome people that come in, not just the vendors, but all the patrons that come in as well. I gotta say, I will give a shout out to all the kids that come up, and they really know how to pump your gas, man. When you're not feeling it, they're just like, that is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I want one. And then they're just like, they will not give up until that parent buys it. I'm just like, I'm not pushing this. That's on you. So yeah.
There's that.
So yeah, it's a lot of really cool stuff. We've become a farmers market family as well with all the vendors and stuff. Speaking of that, I want to give a shout out to Kenny's Baked Goods, custom cookies and baked goods. Amazing brownies, cookies of every kind, pumpkin sandwich cookies.
Oh my God.
Monster
it's crack.
cookies.
It's just straight crack. That's all. there is to
Lemon
it.
cake. Lemon cake?
Yeah.
See, I don't know because I can't have all of these things, but they look amazing, and I just sit there going,
Pineapple brownies.
There's so
which-
much gluten.
Holy shit.
pineapple brownies?
Yeah, that's the pineapple cream swirl brownies, which are just amazing.
Okay, that's new.
And then there's the Oreo cookie ones. There's
So much stuff. The sugar cookies are cute as well. Those are like $3 for a giant cookie.
it's as big as my head. It's just all
But yeah, so if you guys want to stop up there, you can stop up next to my booth to Kenny's Baked Goods and get your order on for Christmas cookies too, because you can do the custom order now.
Yes,
Get ahead of the game. That way you don't have to do all the baking.
that's right.
Very smart. And then last but not least, I want to talk about Stone Cottage Farm of Mayville. Registered Alpine and Nubian dairy goats, goat milk soap, goat milk shares, farm fresh eggs, artisan bread, and farm art, which I have behind me.
It's right there.
They use the feathers from the turkeys and the chickens there as part of the.
Did we ever
mix.
confirm that those were hey feathers or
I
was
did
it
not.
turkey
I think
feathers?
they're turkey
I don't know.
feathers. I'm not sure
Gross.
though. But they do also have, what is that again? The guinea fowls.
The guinea fowls.
Yeah.
The stupid ones that are like tuck, 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 tuck,
I
and
don't
they
even
just
wanna
like
talk
march up
about-
and down. It's like
Because
fucking
of
hey from
them.
Ohana.
Because of them and he shall not be named.
He shall not be
I had cry farming, and we've talked about this before. But anyway, if you guys are interested in following them on Facebook,
Yes.
of course now they have the new puppy. You gotta follow them because they have Kid Mageddon too, with all the baby goats that are hopping around,
Exactly.
and it's just, you can't. It kills me. Also, if you want to get in touch with them for the goat milk soap, there's so many different scents. They're amazing. My
Oh my
favorite is
God.
the coffee cinnamon. You can
Yeah, they're mine.
go on to www.etsy.com/Stone Cottage Farm soap.
They're my soap
I
dealer.
need it. See, I can't even speak this language. Like
Yeah.
50 of them. Anyway, moving on.
Bad English is my first language. So there
like
is that.
that.
All right, I am talking about spray tans by Nicole. We love Nicole. She's amazing. You can text her at 989-640-3138. Mobile spray tanning by Nicole Babb.
Amazing.
And it's funny, she actually gave me a shout out in chat just before the show, and she's like, "Hey, thanks for sending people my way." So,
yeah.
whoever you are listening to this, make sure you let Nicole know where you heard this from, so that way she knows.
You're going to Brazil. Get
What?
a tan on before you go.
What? I'm Conan O'Brien white.
I know, me too. Me too. As you can see, I haven't partaked in the mobile tan.
There is that. All right, and then last but certainly not least, before that, Harvest. Go check them guys out.
Oh, love the Harvest.
157 North Main Street, I think it is.
Right.
And it's Harvest Your Craft on Facebook. Go check the socials. They have amazing food. I was there this week, got some lunch, had me my wrap with a bomb-ass milkshake and some chips.
Okay. Did it bring boys to the yard?
My milkshakes always bring the boys to the yard.
Did you share with them?
No, because they tried to bite my nipple. It was really awkward.
Whoa.
So,
okay, Dahmer,
yeah.
slow down. Slow down.
I am not edible, just saying. Anyways, the last but certainly not least, Dragonfly Boutique.
Yeah.
Designs by Heather Edgington. That's this lovely lady right here, the Conan O'Brien white in the studio. Custom orders available, unique, one-of-a-kind, recycled jewelry, wares, and wonders. Would you like to go through and talk about your business?
Not really, but I will.
So, well, I mean, you're on Facebook. You're on all the socials.
I am on Facebook under Dragonfly Boutique Caro. There is a Dragonfly Boutique, but I can't get into that one. So if you've been messaging for special orders, it's not going to happen that way.
Yeah.
But if you follow me on Dragonfly Boutique Caro, I can hook you up.
Worst customer service ever on Facebook.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling that. I'm like, damn, I hope people haven't been messaging that. Like, hey, I did have a couple people actually call me. They're like, hey, were you at the Ellington Craft Fair? I bought one of your key necklaces. I'm like, oh, cool. Can you make me some more? Absolutely.
Sure.
But then they're like, oh, I'm like, okay, well, what would you like on it? Anything. Okay.
I'm having this vision where I'm sensing future play dates between her and
Yeah.
I literally is sad but true. I have 3 rooms in my house that are all craft rooms. I have my office, which is also my son and I's sewing room. I have my guest bedroom, which is now the vintage jewelry, and in my beading studio is downstairs in the basement.
a beading
Yes, I looks like I robbed Michael's. I literally have pegboards with all this. I'll have to show you some pictures sometime.
You can't come to see mine because you'd be like, what in the hurricane hell happened?
Oh yeah. Oh, mine is bad, and my kids are actually threatening. I'll tell you what. They're like, if we have to carry one more fucking box of beads, you're dead.
That was me moving.
And they used to pick on my husband. They're like, do you think you're ever gonna find a bead in the mashed potatoes one day? And then, of course, about 3 weeks later, I'm cooking, and my bracelet I was wearing broke, and one flipped in the mashed potatoes. And I was like,
of course it
oh
did.
shit! Sorry, baby.
Yeah.
I would like to, if you don't mind, Tony, give a shout out to
go ahead,
today
please.
to my beautiful niece Hannah Austin, who is 18 years old today.
Wow.
I want to wish her a happy birthday. She is a hard-working kid. She's out in Foster, Michigan. Beautiful young lady, graduated school, really making waves in the world. So I'm very proud of her.
Amazing.
That's awesome. So yeah, if you want to give a shout out to your ministry or
Yeah, for
any of
sure.
your 501c3 stuff that's on your socials, go ahead.
So yeah, the group that I support is called Resgatando Vidas, or Saving Lives, and it's an agape ministry where we do a lot of humanitarian work. You can find the broadcast of Resgatando Vidas on web radio. So if you just type in RESGAN TDO, and it should bring up the choices.
Okay.
And then there's pictures of Pastor Carlos and his wife. You can kind of tell because we do pretty basic studios, nothing real complicated. And then I would like to give a special thank you to the 2 ladies who really are the heart and soul of my congregation, Linda Daniels and Jane Gemmel. They, it's hard to be a pastor when you have to work 60 hours a week.
Same.
And it is like nerve-wracking and rewarding at the same time.
Right.
Especially for, like myself, for me, my ministry is the most serious thing that I do. And so Crossroads Community of Christ, 3615 Mertz Road, Caro, Michigan, literally between Shelson Industries and the Lig store. And you'll find that we have a very friendly congregation. We are somewhat traditional with a little bit of a contemporary blend, but we just love people. We don't have a certain category that we really cater to. It's not uncommon to find oldsters and addicts sitting in the same row at my congregation, and that's the way we like it. So,
That's good, and I like that. Because a lot of times you're like, yep, I'm gonna go and try this out, and you're just like, it's stuffy.
Yes.
They don't love people.
Well,
They love to hear themselves talk.
one thing that sets Community of Christ apart from a lot of other faith communities is that we believe in the worth of all people, and all people are called, and we promote that heavily.
Yeah.
We were among one of the earlier faith communities that decided to ordain LGBTQA people because, we figure God calls whom God calls, and there's a lot of people, even as a parent, I've had people come to me and say, how do you feel about this situation with the LGBTQA community? And I'm like, I'm a rainbow mom. I make kids with flair. I don't care. What I want is for people to come to my faith community and find themselves and find their own worth and their own value, and don't strive to be like me because I'll mess you up. Strive to be the best version of you that you can be. And that's really where blessings, occur, is when we bring out the best in each other.
Absolutely. Man, I feel like I need to go hang out with you one of these Sundays or whenever you guys do.
Heck yeah, Sunday morning, 11 o'clock. I'd be glad to have you guys come in. Shoot. I'd love to have Tony come in and strum his guitar and sing some songs and
heck yeah.
apple juice.
Apple juice.
I'll have to remember how to play that thing.
Yeah. Well, we did get the poll completed on the chat here.
All right. Look at
I do want to give a shout out. She reminded me of the birthday. A shout out to, it's also Ruth's birthday today.
Yeah, I wish
From Initiative Impossible.
Yeah.
So we're going to give him a shout out too. I don't know if he ever hangs out or comes in here or is just like, I don't know. Just one time we'll
Do
hang
we
out.
want to pull up all of the shows so we can cover that really quickly?
We could
and then
do
get
that,
back
but
to
I'm
the
gonna-
interview?
Do the poll really quick.
Yeah, what you got?
How many places have you traveled outside of the U.S.? 5% is 5 is 50%, 2 is 25%, 3 is 25%, and 4 is 0%. So yeah.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. So you
That's
guys
the
like that stuff. That's awesome. So we're going to give a shout out really quick, actually, to all of the channels and stuff that we've worked on, that's the security feed. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Taking pictures of the back of Heather's head so we can go through and make shit really
How
awkward.
my wig look?
It looks wiki. So we're going to get into Initiative Impossible, which is on, correct me if I'm wrong, Fridays
live at 6:30. Tomorrow night there's going to be an episode. You can come and hang out with us, guys.
That's
us
the plan.
guys.
But I mean, I do Guitar Fridays. So
Right at 8 o'clock, right?
We'll get to that in a minute. So don't make this weird, which is what you guys are watching right now. Every Thursday.
8 o'clock.
Just like clockwork. So we have nothing better to do with our Thursday evenings than throw away an hour and a half that we'll never get back.
250 episodes can't go wrong.
I know, right? And you guys keep coming back for more. That's what's amazing about that.
You like the punishment.
I know, right? I like the abuse. I deserve it. I deserve it. So This Is My Brain also has been removed from YouTube and is now on Facebook due to violating
the man cave?
community standards. Yes. And then Tuesday Night Rants, obviously, which we'll get to the... Yeah, they're ranty. Survivor Girl, we're working on rebranding. I got to take that down because we got to figure out what we're doing with that.
Well, life.
Life. And then there's Chill Stream, where we play MTG Arena with friends and fans of the channel on Saturdays. Guitar Fridays. Take a wild guess what's on that.
Strumming them guitars.
Yeah.
The guitars.
I do my practice sessions on Fridays. And
I'm going to come in and play bass with you one of these nights.
I think I have a guest for you.
Oh, yeah?
I'm going to get clobbered here, but...
Well, why's the hoodie coming up?
More gas.
This kid got more talent in his little finger than I got in my whole body.
Well,
Heck
shit.
yeah.
We need to... Well, you can go on Baghead as a guest. Hell yeah. There you go.
Baghead.
So, and then we have Music and MTG, which is my other channel that I go through and stream on. What Heather was talking about earlier was Rule of Cool, which is on Tuesdays, live at 7.
I'm just really in it for the DM, that's all.
It's all about the DMs. Sliding in your inbox.
DM slid into my DMs.
That's right. Wait a minute. What? And then obviously Suck My Deck, which is Monday nights where we throw real cardboard on the table and talk shit to each other.
Right.
So there is that. That is all the channels that we're doing right now.
I do poorly because
Yeah,
I have not one yet.
Well, I mean, you do bring out the most bogus decks where your Nope deck and then your Hot Dog.
They're good decks, but I don't get anything to play them.
Well, yeah, have to put land in your deck first.
I have land in there. Apparently, it doesn't want to come out.
There's that.
Just like
I should probably have a conversation with
no
somebody.
real estate there. Just like, you know.
So, anyways, back to our interview with the lovely Josie, and having all kinds of conversations about all the crazy stuff. What is some of the stuff that you want to talk about and bring into the conversation for Don't Make This Weird, since we're on?
Oh boy.
So
you know, I really want to encourage people, especially when you don't know somebody or where they're from, to stop doing the stupid. Like when people come up to me in the grocery store and I have people from, another place and they're like, oh, well, it's so nice though to meet you. Oh, it's like, oh, you just totally did not.
Chill out, Ned Flanders.
Yeah, I had actually a business owner one time in Mayville, sadly. I had taken some folks to her resale store and they were talking about, some salt shakers they wanted to buy. And she's like, I wish I knew what they were saying because I'm sure they're talking about me. And I said, no. We left. I was so mad. I'm like, come on. Wow. There's so much more in this world, And, the thing I've discovered is people are just people everywhere you go.
Mm-hmm.
They all want the same things. They want to be loved.
Yep.
They want to have a relationship with other people. They want to be connected. They want to feel good about themselves and what they're doing. One of these nights, I'd like to come back when we have a little time to talk more about the body positivity issues and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Because one of the things that I've noticed, praise God, finally, for us plus size divas, they're bringing some better fashion into the world. This torrid.
Yeah.
Hey, I will be paying that off my credit card from that store until I'm 95. But it's worth every bit of it. But there's been a lot of things lately in the news, and we're so quick to get that knee-jerk reaction to our neighbor. Mm-hmm. I'm actually delightfully surprised that we have people from Sterling Heights that are Chaldean that are staying in Mayville on weekends now.
Nice.
And, we're getting a much more diverse population in the Thumb area than what we've had in a long time. And I really appreciate that. I just hope that the community can embrace the fact that some of the things that have happened for a long time are just not okay anymore. Mm-hmm. Just because you have a Hispanic family in the store doesn't mean that they're there plotting your end. They're just there to buy, some tortillas and carne, just like the rest of us,
Way to go, Ted. Buy all the lime chips.
And just, be kind and help whoever you can help, because it comes back. It really does.
It does.
About 4 weeks ago, DJ and I were going to Save-A-Lot to grocery shop, and as we were passing Walmart, I saw a Hispanic family sitting on the side of the road. They had a sign that said, stuck here, big emergency, bad broken English. And so I did what I always do, which is, whipped over 3 lanes of traffic to pull into Walmart's parking lot. And, my kid's like, ah! But, I talked to them, and they said, I was the first person that asked them actually what happened. Mm-hmm. He said, people have been kind and giving money. He's like, but they don't really care. They just want us to get out of the way. Mm-hmm. And I think that we need to take more time to get to know people, find out what's really happening with them, make that connection. You never know when in the future that blessing is going to come back around to you.
And it will.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I have stories for hours about how, the generosity of good people and how God has blessed me in the strangest ways. Like literally one time, 2013, I got a book in the mail, and inside of it was a check for $2,000.
Wow. Holy shit.
To pay for my next plane ticket. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it was Touched by Grace, which was the LGBTQA stories in my faith community and their experience, and it was inside of that book.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was all geeked about like this $5 bill that went going by the drain, and
I get excited about that too, sister. Don't let me fool you.
I'm
sure. In the couch giggle, I'm like, yes.
Oh yeah, I found a 20 in the bottom of my wallet, like shoved in. I was like, oh, gas money for work. Yeah, buddy. And I'm like collecting change. I got $67 the other day. I'm like, yeah. So, I'm like, I'm abundant, and I'm finding all this money. I'm like, yeah, I am.
I mean, I was pretty impressed when I found chocolate in my peanut butter the other day.
Can't go wrong with that.
You know, I mean,
It's only because he forgot to lick the knife before he stuck it
probably.
in the jar.
that makes sense.
Like
That makes a lot of sense.
Nutella and your peanut butter. Nutella.
Well, no, that's one of the things that we talk about on the other channel. Is my sign off for music and MTG is remember, be kind, because you don't know where that other person's been.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
You really don't.
Well, I mean, look at all this shit we've been through.
Well, and here's the thing, you know,
True
a lot of
story.
people, when they meet me, I always feel so bad because they hear the P word, pastor, preacher, whatever, and they automatically assume that you're straight-laced and judgmental and rigid and cold. And, you know, there have been a lot of people who have worked hard to earn that title for
Right.
ministry, sadly. I mean,
Right.
but what they've managed to do is to successfully sequester themselves from some of the best people in the face of the planet.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, and you know, it's just my hope and my being that, you know, people will realize that there's so much more to those of us who are in ministry. You know, some of us do have a sense of humor. Some of us are borderline psychotic in ministry, you know.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
But
Well, that's funny that you say that, because I mean, I actually teach a class now. It's called Rooted, and it's really cool because they the whole Rooted series actually came from down there in South America. I'm sure you're familiar with it.
yes.
But it's really cool because they fondly dubbed it, because I'm a road dog, Rooted on the Road, because I teach actually in the community at one of the local restaurants every Sunday morning. So it's really fun to sit down and teach a class based on the Bible, and people are walking in like, what the hell are these people doing over here? And I'm the one that's in charge, and it's like, wait a minute, is there a responsible adult around here? Yeah, exactly. I can count a chair.
It's like, okay, so you're doing this. Cool.
Pretty much. Yeah, it's really interesting that I've always appreciated the fact that when someone has taken a different approach to just reach people, how interesting that is, based off of that's exactly what Jesus did. You know, he said, I didn't come to teach the healthy people. You don't send a healthy person to the doctor. No, you go to the sick, you go to the lame, you go to the dying, you go to the people that are needy, poor, whatever. I mean, he's hanging out with 12 guys and talking to a leper.
Right.
I don't know anybody else that does that.
Well, and, you know, high-end respect for women at such a time when, you know, they were pretty much just property, you know,
Yeah.
chattel, part of the
Right.
herd of cows, you know, 6 wives, 4 cows, life is good, you know.
Trade you for goat.
Yes. And, you know, one of the things that I am enjoying so much about what I'm seeing unfold is that we're learning so much more these days about how basic elements of other religions have been unfolded into Christianity. And it's really a melting pot religion in some ways, like America is with, you know, the English language and that stuff, you know. And I have found that the further we go back and the more we look at the original situation, the more we see that Jesus was essentially one of the greatest thinking minds of his time, you know, forward thinking as far as, you know, relationships and the worth of persons, and, you know, just amazing. I would have loved to have spent time in his entourage, because I'm telling you, when you put, well, there was roughly 12 of us in our group at school.
Oh, yeah.
And you think of the relationships, you know, like if we were going places, I remember one time you took a pair of my tennis shoes and we were at somebody's house, you tied a knot and threw them up, and I had to have Dennis go get them down for me, you know. And could you imagine, you know, being with Jesus and somebody throwing their sandals on the roof of somebody's house, you know, and Tony being the one to shimmy up on the terracotta and go get the shoes down, you know. You can't spend time with people in a group like that and not have some good times.
Right,
you know?
for sure.
One of the things I hated about what Ben Hur and Charlton Heston did for Christianity was that people thought that Jesus was very serious, and there was always the, you know, the angel heavenly music every time Jesus spoke, and everybody were, you know, reverent because it was Jesus. My Jesus is messy and dirty, and, you know, loving people where they're at and getting involved with people in the worst of times. And you don't have time for all the reverent music stuff because you're too busy banging your head to kiss trying to get through the, you know?
Heck yeah.
That's one of the things I like about the Chosen series. I don't know if you've seen that yet, but the Chosen is such a cool series where it makes it completely relatable, because it's like, hey, here's another dude. He's got a wicked cool beard. He wears, I think it's a toga looking thing. I'm not sure. He's got some sandals.
Please tell me he's not white, though.
Oh, good God, no. And that's one of the things that I really, really like about The Chosen is they don't whitewash the original part of how those people in the Middle East look. Like when you look at it, Jonathan Rumi, who's such an incredible actor, actually speaks, for the most part, fluent Aramaic.
Yeah.
And I'm going, this is insane. Because like they showed, he actually did a prayer, where was it like the feeding of the 5,000 when they shot that. And he did the whole entire Our Father prayer in Aramaic. And I went, holy shit, that is cool to watch that. And then to see the whole production of this. I encourage you guys, if you had not checked out The Chosen, season 3 is getting ready to drop, which I'm so freaking excited. But yeah, go check it out. It's literally, it is a story of Jesus you will never, ever see again. It is awesome.
And it's a really cool thing, too, because they pay it forward. So if you don't...
Yeah, it's all free. You can download it. Literally just type in The Chosen in the App Store and boom. There you go. It's awesome. And it's on YouTube, too.
We have a couple more minutes left before the show is done for the night.
Really?
Yeah, I know. It went really fast, I feel. So if there's anything else that... Yeah, for sure. Definitely. I want to talk about the body positive and all that stuff as well.
Yeah.
But is there anything else that you want to put out there, like as a, for anybody who's listening that might need to hear something right now?
I need to hear something right now hope is always on the horizon. And, sometimes our situations in life, get to where, we're very schedule-oriented people. And we're trying to be the most productive in our day, get the most out of our day. We want to maximize everything. To maximize your spirituality, though, you got to get back to simplicity. Taking time for the quiet, for the soft, small things like when my kids were growing up, a wise evangelist woman gave me the best advice, and that's every day when we sat down at the dinner table, we said 5 things we were thankful for and a prayer request for somebody. And I noticed over the years doing that, like the evolution, even of my husband, when he first started, it was always, well, I like deer and trees. And then, now he's like, and we need to pray for this one because they're hurting and that one. And, there's always something you can do to encounter hope. Don't give up. The world can be ugly, it can be hard, but there are good people everywhere. And one of the things that we have to remember is that sometimes we just have to lay aside our own pride. I'm 43 years old. I have no car right now. I'm driving my kid's beat up college mobile because, over the last 3 years, I've just had a bad run of luck with cars. And, it's expensive. The market's hard right now. I'm paying student loans and house payment and set everything backwards. I had my kids and then went to college and all that. But, if you believe that you can, some way, somehow, and then of course there's that little bit, the mustard seed faith, you can throw a little of that in there too. But if you're not a person that can take faith and really grasp it, then put your hope in humanity because they're not all bad.
Right.
There are so many good people, and sometimes it just takes some knowing. In fact, I'll be the first to say, shout out to Brian Decker. I have a dryer at my house. Last year, my dryer fell apart after I had surgery on my arm, and I had exhausted all of my savings. And, I'm just like down to my last. And finally, I put it on Facebook. I'm like, somebody please help. And next thing I know, Brian's at my house with my kids installing a new dryer. There are good, beautiful people lurking everywhere. You just...
Yeah. You just have to get rid of the pride and be honest about what it is that you need help with.
Because people do want to help. It makes us feel good, naturally. And the generosity I have found, it's not that people don't want to be generous. They just don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So if you let them know, then it's like, hey, it's all in.
Yeah. That is a great message to end on tonight. We appreciate you joining us. Looking forward to having you back again, if you will. And we're thankful that you're able to be here tonight. And all of you guys that joined in. My dad just joined in at the end, saying hello, guys. Thanks for jumping in, Dad. Yeah. Appreciate you. One of my biggest fans there. And I feel you on the vehicle situation because I'm actually driving his car right now to get back and forth to see him and to work and everything, which thank you, Dad.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are glad to have you. We'll have you back as soon as we can because this has been
Absolutely.
a great
And
show.
I do need to give a great shout out to my husband, Lee, who is my rock and my help. And I could not do all the things that I do without him managing the house at home. I mean, guy cooks, he cleans, you know, I could not ask for any better of a helpmate and a spouse to share the journey with. And hopefully when the time is right, you know, if the boss man upstairs has other plans, he will travel with me someday. But until then, it's the Looney Tunes like Earl and Tony.
Yeah.
That's what we call a
You
keeper.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. So we'll see you again next Thursday, same time, same place. Don't forget to check out Guitar
right.
Fridays, Chill Stream Saturday, Initiative Impossible, all those other shows that we mentioned. We have a lot coming up, you guys. And if you get a chance while you're in town for the Pumpkin Festival this weekend, stop up to the Farmers Market. Come say hello.
Yeah, come say hi.
We'll be out and about, so we'd love to see you guys
That's what we
in
do.
person. You know, maybe get some pictures, whatever. Hang out with you guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks again for tuning in. I guess Bobby's got a couple more things here. Oh, he says I'm going. Oh, you going to the pumpkin? Okay, well maybe we'll see you. I say
we'll see you
pumpkin.
there.
Pumpkin. I had to be careful because growing up,
Pumpkin.
I've always said pumpkin.
Yeah,
So I gotta be careful. My brother's like, okay, are you picking out a pumpkin out of the pumpkin patch? Like, yeah. I'd asked how many cards he puts in. 26 mana for 70. Okay, gotcha. And buying a card, but I have to put it together, which is going to cost me about $3,000. Whoa.
Wow. That's
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
That's why I use my bike to get around, because I need to get my fat ass in shape. That's just
I
how
have a
that works.
stationary one that I'm working on.
So when I grow up,
Yeah.
I'm going to be a real boy.
All right. Sounds good.
That's right.
All right,
So-
guys.
Go ahead, give the sign off.
Thank you, guys. And remember, keep it weird.
What?